Well, it's a bank holiday weekend.
It is indeed, but all eyes on the cricket. Actually, we don't normally lead with cricket on these bulletins or on these kind of pieces, do we? But really interesting this week. We've seen Ben Stokes, the England captain, produce one of the best performances in recent years, certainly of his recent times, because he had a difficult period. He had a documentary series released this week on Amazon called Phoenix from the Ashes, talking about his battle with mental health issues, and he really suffered badly. We're talking panic attacks and stuff like that, and he considered quitting the cricket altogether. And this is one of the most celebrated stars of recent years. He took up the captaincy earlier in the year, and there's enough of a microscope on his life as it is, and then he goes into the England fray, where he takes over from quite a failing side. You had the Ashes scenario at the turn of the year, where England failed dismally against Australia in December and January. He takes over as captain. Now, that's a risk in itself. And someone suffering mental health issues, often they find that in diagnosis, they find that sometimes being overburdened with responsibility is a cause. It plays one of the factors one of the dynamics that causes the problems in the first place. So it's a bit of a risk when someone's suffering already and they take the captaincy.
Yeah.
But he took it on his shoulders as it is. Took a bit of time to find his range in terms of batting. He wasn't batting well in the summer, even though England were doing relatively well. And he's part of this new sort of drive to be expansive and try and go for runs and try and hit sixes and things like that. And yesterday, it all came together at Old Trafford in the second day of the second test against South Africa, and he produced, I think it was 103 was the eventual stand to put England in the driving seat going into the third test, or going into the next day's play today, which gets under 11 o'clock. But superb performance from him. He also, his partner was a guy called Ben Foakes, so similar sort of name, but he hit 113
Foakes and
himself.
Stokes.
Exactly, yeah, and he had a problem with his left knee as well, so in common with the problems he's had with his personal life in the last few years, it wasn't without issues. He had to struggle to really get there, but one of his shots even landed on the balcony at Old Trafford, so yeah, it didn't break any glass, thankfully, but brilliant performance from him, and great to see. And it just happens to be in the week when the show or the series is on Amazon and doing very good numbers as well.
Yeah. Oh, well, good for him.
Exactly.
Good for
What
him.
else have we got coming
Well,
up?
I'm looking at the fixtures today. I'm all eyes on Man United and Southampton, really. I mean, Man United produced this performance from the gods on Tuesday when they beat Liverpool 2-1. They had all that criticism in the last few weeks. They lost at home to Brighton, lost away to Brentford. They were 4-0 down in 35 minutes. It was like, Man United, we're next for them. And then Liverpool go to Old Trafford, not in great form themselves, it has to be said, but United just hadn't beaten them in 4 years, and they just produced this performance which very few people thought this current team was capable of. Now, the issue is, 5 days later, yes, you've raised your game for Liverpool when the pressure's on and when everyone's biting from the sidelines. Can you go to Southampton at about 12:30? Tough trip, early kick-off on a Saturday, and produce the same kind of performance. Manchester United are well known for having players who are capable of raising it for the big games, but they're not so up for it when you maybe go to... The old phrase used to be going to Stoke on a Tuesday night. You don't use that anymore because Stoke have been relegated. But, if you had a top player around, the question would be, but can you do it on a Tuesday night in Stoke?
Yeah.
And so they're going to Southampton today. So we'll see how they get on. It's 12:30. Arsenal as well is interesting, 5:30. I mean, 3 wins for them at the start of the season. Another side who've been criticised in recent years for having mentality issues. I mean, we saw last season they had a terrible start. They picked it up and did really well. And they've got a documentary on Amazon running as well. It seems to be a theme these days.
Doesn't it, Josh?
And then it does, yeah. Well, I mean, it's...
So it's a revenue winner, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I mean, it's a chance to showcase the club around the globe. I mean, Wrexham are doing it with Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, wow.
So that's going as well. But it's called All or Nothing. And when you actually look at what the team gets out of it and what it shows about the dressing room, sometimes you don't come across very well because the manager and the coaches and the players forget the cameras are there a lot of the time. So it's been re-nicknamed from All or Nothing. It's been called All for Nothing.
Oh,
That's
really?
what fans are thinking of. Yeah, but it is good. It's a good watch, though. But Arsenal... So, again, Arsenal have got theirs on TV at the moment, but they're lucky because they've started the season very well. And today they face Fulham. They've not lost at home to Fulham for about 500 years. So I will check the exact note on that. It's not quite 500 years, but...
No, not quite.
No, but it'll be a long time. It'll be a long time. But that could be... Look, they could easily win that game at 5:30, and that'd be 4 wins from the start of the season. They had the problems at the end of last year where they lost away to Tottenham and away to Newcastle, and they really wilted under that pressure, and that's when people started questioning have they got the stomach to do, or the mentality to do this, to finish in the top 4. But 4 wins out of 4, you can't really argue with that. So we'll see where it goes. And yeah, and as I say, these Amazon documentaries, they look fine when you're winning. If you started the season badly, then you're going, well, look at him.
We should never have signed up to do that.
He's a bit eccentric. He's a bit eccentric. Look at that thing. And even though most of his footage is from a year ago, people just sort of bring it into the now and draw comparisons. So, good that they're winning, but I think they'll be glad to see the back of those cameras.